Hi everybody, I'm Bonnie Stafford, and today I'd like to introduce you to something called Babywearing. When I'm doing a Babywearing 101 presentation, I like to start out by telling people what Babywearing is. It sounds strange, it sounds more complicated than it is, sometimes it sounds kind of funny, but really what it is it's just using fabric carriers of some type to hold your baby and support them on your body so that you can be hands-free or mostly hands-free to get things done. So the second thing that I like to talk to people about is why do we wear? Because if there's no reason to do this, then why do we have groups and why do we have play dates and why do we make videos like this? And so what's the whole point? Why do people wear? Well, I like to start out by telling people why we don't wear, because there's a lot of misconceptions and a lot of things that get out in the community sometimes. First of all, we don't wear because some parenting expert in some parenting book told us that that's what we should do. Although there's a lot of parenting experts and a lot of parenting books who will tell you that baby wearing is a fabulous thing. We don't do it because that's what the cool kids do, although there's a lot of cool kids that baby wear, or at least we like to think that we're pretty cool. We don't wear because the carriers are really cool and really beautiful and really fancy, although there's a lot of really pretty fancy baby carriers out there. We wear because it helps us take care of our babies. So what do we know? There's not a lot of research that's been done at this moment on baby wearing. There's a lot of research that's in the process. There's a lot of folks in the community that are using baby wearing as part of their doctorate theses, master's thesis, things like that. But we don't have a whole lot of the results quite yet. But what we do know is that babies that are held more cry less, especially during that witching hour time around 5 o'clock in the evening. Part of me would like to know who got paid to do that kind of research, because they really could have just given me the money and I could have told them that, but it's good to know for sure. So we know that babies that are held more cry less, but unfortunately we can't just sit around and hold babies all the time, as much as we would really love to do that. Sometimes we have to adult. We have to do things like eat, we have to do chores, we have to take care of other children, we have to run errands. And what baby wearing does is it eliminates a caregiver's need to choose between holding their baby, which is what their baby needs at that moment in time, and doing the things that they need to do as a functioning adult. So that is why we do this. Before we get into the different types of carriers, I want to talk just a little bit about safety. And I'm going to start off doing that by introducing you to my assistant for the day. Come here, big boy. Come. This is Mr. Finnegan. We call him Finn, or Finny Finn, as his 6-year-old sister likes to call him. And he's going to be helping me out today. But the two things I want you to remember, if you remember nothing else from this video, I want you to be aware of fall risks and airway restrictions. Those are the two things that we really want to keep an eye on. And if we know that those two things are taken care of, then we know that our baby wearing is most likely safe. So what I like to do before I get too far into showing people how to wear is I like to have them either hold their baby or hold our demo dolls. Because what you'll notice, what I notice, is that caregivers instinctively know how to hold a baby in arms safely, or else we wouldn't have survived as a species. So I want you to kind of take a look at the way I'm holding him, and that's what we're going to try to recreate when we put him into a carrier. And I like to have caregivers hold their babies to their chest, because I feel like it gives them a little bit of confidence, because they instinctively know how to carry this baby. So when we put them into a carrier, we're just going to recreate the same thing. If you look down and you don't feel like you can just reach your arms around that carrier and that it is that it feels natural and secure, then there's probably something wrong. You probably want to take baby out and start again. But if we can recreate this, then that's what we're going for. So I just want to talk just for a minute, kind of break down what we do instinctively that we probably don't think about. First of all, I'm carrying him very high on my chest. I'm not carrying him down here. And that allows me to monitor his breathing. So if he were to have any sort of breathing problems, I would hear it. It would sound like a wheezing noise or a grunting noise, something that was unusual for him. And what that probably meant is that his little airway had gotten kinked somehow. So I'm carrying very high. I'm also supporting his back and his head. And what you do when you do that is you support their airway. Their little airway is kind of like a straw, and if it were to get kinked, they would have problems breathing. So if he gets slumped down, if his chin falls onto his chest, especially when he's sleeping or when they're very small and they don't have any head control, then that can cause them to have problems breathing. So I always want to be able to get 1 to 2 of my fingers underneath baby's chin, between their chin and their chest, to make sure their chin isn't off their chest. The other thing that I'm doing is I am supporting their legs, his back, his hips, and making sure that he's not going to fall. Now, when you see me, when we get to ring slings and wraps especially, you're going to hear me talk about making a seat. And this is basically all I'm doing. What I'm doing down here with my arm is making the same seat that I'm going to make with the ring slings. So I'm supporting from knee to knee, knees above bum, and that is what causes him to be secure in my arm. So that's the same thing that we're going to do when we get to wraps, and especially when we get to ring slings. So again, if you remember nothing else from this this talk, I want you to remember fall risks and airway restrictions, and I want you to remember that baby should always mimic the way we carry in arms when we carry in a carrier. So if you look down and it's very, very different from the way you would be carrying baby in arms, then we might want to take baby out and look at it again. So, all right, now let's get to the carrier.